What's shaking? You're in the Beat Sessions, place for all things music, and where we do the listening for you. I'm your host, Mitchell Weary. It is Friday, May 19th. Happy Dave Matthews Band album release day. Very excited to lead things off for the week with this new record, Walk Around the Moon. This is the 10th studio album for Dave & Co., big milestone after 3 decades, and their follow-up to 2018's Come Tomorrow. A lovely record. Honestly, like all their stuff, very unique, has its own identity. When I listen to that album, there's a lot about it that reminds me of U2 from that band's inception all the way up to Octung Baby. Really dug the sound of that record. And this new album, Walk Around the Moon, it's got its own identity that really makes it phenomenal and so unique in its own right. Really excited to talk about that. But I want to lead this thing off by just talking about Dave. After 3 decades, still arguably the nicest, kindest dude in the music industry. And I think that's an important thing to discuss because this is a man that he's very humble. Even after all this time with all his success, he's the type of guy that starting off, I mean, there was a lot of people that, that encouraged him to do this. And I think that as the band developed, you talk about Leroy, you talk about Carter, you talk about Stefan. Even at his young age, he was such a prodigy. And a guy like Boyd, who, his fall from grace within this band is really tragic. And I think what makes it so heartbreaking for all of us is that a guy like Dave trusted him, and we trust Dave, and that trust was broken. It's a testament to this man, the veneration that he displays. You listen to him talk about the early years of this outfit and these guys coming together, and just the awe that he had for their talents, for their abilities, not just as musicians, but as people. That's a big part of what this collection of musicians brought to the table for each other and for the rest of the world. I think Dave Matthews Band is so special. Honestly, there's a number of people over the years that didn't really get it. But then, with a cheap lawn seat on a perfect summer day and a blanket on a lawn, a joint and a bunch of friends, it's one of the most cathartic experiences I think that I've had. Some of my best memories are shared with some of the people that I'm closest to at a Dave Matthews show, just enjoying life, enjoying being here, enjoying what Dave is all about. He's an interesting cat. I really love his perspective as far as, what makes him so fun is his playfulness and the balance of perspective as far as, I think he's a guy that there's this admiration for the miracle that is humanity. The fact that we're floating around on this rock where we're at, whether you believe in God or whatever you believe in, or if you think it's just coincidence, it's still a freaking miracle. And I love that Dave celebrates that. The other thing that I love about him too, and it's kind of what makes his music a little rough around the edges, but he's always been like that consistently, is that it's the futility of fighting against death. There's so much that we do in our daily lives, and not to say that we shouldn't take care of ourselves at all, but ultimately it's to no avail. Like, all of us are going to go. So eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die. And it's that playful perspective in kind of such dark territory that I think is what makes Dave Matthews not just a special musician, but a special person. His perspective on life is outstanding. And so this new record, capturing all these things, this is going to be the first record without Boyd. So it's unique for that reason. I think that his style of playing, there's so many songs in their catalog with his plucking technique that, you're not going to get any of that on this record. Sadly, it's not there, but it's not going to break this thing by any way, shape, or form. And I think that this new lineup of musicians, this is not your parents' Dave Matthews Band or, 10-year-old me, when all my friends and I first started getting into this band and all of our parents were listening to them. It's another one of the things that made these guys so cool. Like, they were able to just bridge that gap. When a lot of my buddies and I were listening to punk and kind of heavy stuff, we still have identified the incredible musicianship, and as our tastes continue to develop and mature, it was really cool being able to just enjoy this band with our parents and with each other and just everybody, frankly. But this new lineup, Jeff Coffin, I think he's done a really excellent job of filling some big shoes behind Leroy in in the time since his passing. I think he's marvelous to listen to. Rashawn Ross on the trumpet, a little bit of percussion that he's bringing to the table. Buddy Strong on the keys. This is his first appearance on album. I think he's phenomenal to listen to on this record. We have Tim Reynolds, lead on guitar here for a number of years now. This is a cool lineup of musicians. This is a band that has had some really tough moments in its past, and much like Dave, and I think that this is why he's the leader. This is a collective. They talk about what all these guys bring to the table, and Dave talks about how it's so silly that the Dave Matthews Band is just a title. This is a band where all the collaborators are contributing equally. Excuse me, but it's the Dave Matthews Band because it's Dave that. It's not like he keeps these guys together. It's just that he's such a rock that why would you want to go anywhere else? Why would you want to be anywhere else when this man in all of his glory and all of his character, he's probably the type to blush if he listens to this. But for real, I talk him up because I think he's one of the most cool, sincere human beings that's out there in this line of work, when it's very easy to just fold and give up your character for a buck or a tour or whatever. Dave's a guy that has always been authentically himself. And I love that. And I love this new lineup. I love this record. I'm really excited to talk about it. It kicks off with Walk Around the Moon, your title track. It's got this ominous acoustic guitar. It's got this light signature vocal as well. I like the contrast there to open up. And the groove that develops in this song as it builds is so nice. I love when the drums come in, got this rolling bass riff that keeps a nice mood. I love the horns that are working on this thing. Closes out with some woodwind instruments. It's really a nice album opener. Great energy. Leads into Madman's Eyes, which phenomenal second song. You got this eerie synth and sax to open, and then Dave enters with this vocal melody that it hints at, I'm gonna call it Hindustani. It's this Middle Eastern influence that's driving this, but it reminds me, I feel like, and I'm not the most versed in all the music from that part of the world, but Northern India, Pakistan, that section of the Middle East and the musical influences that have influenced those people. That's what I'm hearing in this song, and I love the way that it opens up with the music. It's big feel, pretty strings. The orchestral arrangement is incredible on the song, and the chorus just rocks out. And I'm really loving one of the lines: "How do we face hatred with love inside us?" This is a complex song, and it's talking about that futility that Dave likes to focus on, and it's one of the things that I love it about him. He'll throw that in your face. Life is complicated. It can be hard. It can be infuriating at times, but it's still so beautiful. And it's those moments of beauty that it's worth grinding through the tough stuff to realize those moments, whether it's for us, whether it's for future generations, whether it's for people that we don't even know. I think it's worth it to still put yourself out there without the tangible thing. If you're having an influence on people that you'll never meet and you'll never know, that's cool. And I think just knowing that you're having that impact and being able to roll with that it's important to identify. And especially in a world where globalization has connected all of us in a way, it's tough for me to even identify how much of a connection I'm having with all of you. I can't see, who's subscribing, who's unsubscribing, the things that I say that, maybe have irked some people. Not that I'm going to stop saying what I'm saying, but it would be nice to have some type of idea of what is going on as far as the movement and the subscriber base. But it's I think that if you're the type of person where you have a platform, just know that if there's people out there that are commenting and that appreciate you in your downtime, know that they might not be there to go out to dinner with or go out to lunch with or to sit down with, but they're thinking about you and they appreciate you, and that's important. Looking for a Vein is your third song. It's kind of an interesting analogy there for Dave. Gentle electric guitar with light electro percussion on this thing. Fills out with these light instrumentation and washes, but kind of a short track, as are most of these compositions. They're really tight. This is honestly, this record, one of the interesting things about it's 43 minutes, 12 songs. This is the shortest effort by 9 minutes from this band, behind Every Day. And there's a lot about this record that reminds me of Every Day, as far as the compositions being short, tight, and pretty concise, but still exploring a lot of fun territory, navigating a lot of fun terrain. The Ocean and the Butterfly, your fourth track, excellent jazz sax to open up on this thing, gives way to this light jazz acoustic doo-wop feel. I love the dynamic in this song. Chorus has this classic pop drive to it, really fun track. It Could Happen is your fifth song. Cool acoustic riff, keys open up to usher in this really nice melody, great hook, big element of hope and longing. I think it's in the title there. It Could Happen. Really nice song that mellows things out and then leads into the conclusion of your A side, Something to Tell My Baby. Pretty acoustic ballad, reflecting on the delicacy of life, how special it is, how fragile it is. This song made me tear up. Like Dave got me on this one. This is a track that feels like someone that's, trying to, really actively identify that hook, losing someone and making sure that they're able to grab hold of a purpose, a reason to continue and to move on. Maybe not even just for themselves, but for that person that is now no longer there, that, that they want to show some veneration for. Track shook me. It's really, really good. After Everything is going to open up your B-side. Great way to start. Big groovy, soulful rockin' track. I love everything that's going on in this thing. Light groove that it shifts into probably about halfway through the song. It's a nice way to kick things off, coming off that pretty heavy moment. All You Wanted Was Tomorrow is your eighth track. Some light piano to open this thing up. Pretty mellow track with some drums to open with that piano. Got this like nice country feel on this song, which I enjoyed the kind of change of pace there. And then it takes on this soulful groove like 2 minutes in. I like that change in pace. It's going to return to that kind of country flair, and then it kicks back in with that soulful vibe. It's a really fun track for the kind of short runtime that it has. The Only Thing is your ninth song. It comes out hot. That's just another rockin' affair on this thing. I enjoyed the energy of it. Love the frenzied guitar and the horns. Great dynamic here. I imagine that this is between Tim and Rashawn, but it's really cool the way that these two are working together with this frenzied instrumentation, and then the percussion is just kind of mid-tempo and kind of chill. I love the feel of the song. It's super fun. Chorus has got some brighter melodies working with it, and this line, I just wish I could crawl out of the skin I'm living in. Dave's throwing down some pretty good stuff lyrically on this album. I got to give him some credit there. I've really enjoyed some of those lyrical moments that they just caught me. It's just the gravity, the magnitude of what he's saying with the music and everything that's going on at the time. Break Free is your 10th song. This is my favorite song on this record. It's so good. You have this meandering riff that ushers in simple bass and drums. Has this really subtle reggae vibe, but it's so dope. I love the feel of this track. This chorus welcomes in some organ and some horns, and this thing just unfolds beautifully. A magnificent track. It leads into your penultimate track, Monsters. It's another big opening as far as the electric guitar, supported by some light instrumentations, but I feel like that electric guitar element is definitely the highlight of this particular song. It's the chorus is going to take on a slightly breezy feel, while the chorus kind of has this more edgy vibe. There's this great bridge that's very soulful, another nice change of pace there, making the song more dynamic in itself, and another great lyric: no rope to hang the damned, no line to save a drowning man, just the monsters in your head. And being that this record was made during COVID, and I think just in general in life for all of us, there's so many people, dealing with a lot of them in my professional life right now, where they're out there being warriors for whatever cause they want to, like all the monsters that are out there. And I think that it's an interesting perspective that the most dangerous monster, I think, to all of us is the monster inside of our head. And I think that the last few years have kind of proven that. There's a lot of people that spend a lot of time by themselves in a way that I don't think they geared themselves up to, and it's sad. I hope that we're able to move beyond this point, in the near future. But I think that there are still a lot of people out there that, if they just took a moment to breathe and to maybe cope with the demons in their head, that they might find some peace. They might find a way to step out into the world in a daily basis with just a more relaxed perspective, knowing that there's so much out there that we cannot control, but we can all control our own attitudes and the way we respond and act to the rest of the world. And I think that a focus on that and that lyric it caught me so much because I'm such a big believer in that right now. I'm such a big believer in, all of us just need to take the time to focus on ourselves and make sure that we have what we need, and then at that point, that's the opportunity for individuals to put themselves out there, to be of assistance to others. But I see so many people that stretch themselves thin, and ultimately, they end up kind of collapsing because they don't give themselves enough time, and we all deserve to give ourselves that time. Your closing track, Singing from the Windows, simple acoustic vocal intro on this thing that is going to carry the mood of this song from start to finish. A very mellow, chill, interesting way to close this thing off. And it closes with walking down the hall, nowhere to go, be good to see you. We'll get going again when the war is over. And that's how this thing closes. You're talking about the monster in our heads and and the war that we're fighting and the war being over. This is a fascinating project from Dave. I love this record. It leaves us off with a hopeful perspective. This is a guy that wants the best for everything, for people, for the trees, for animals, for everything. It's what makes him so cool. It's what makes Dave Matthews Band the Dave Matthews Band. And so a big vinyl please on this thing. I hope you guys all enjoy this record to lead your week off with. And please subscribe to the channel, like this video, share it, do all the things to help us blow this project up in 2023. And stay tuned throughout the week for more album reviews. We will see you next time on the Beat Sessions.